Some people say evil comes dressed in dark robes with glowing red eyes. They picture monsters lurking in shadows, waiting to pounce. But I've learned that evil can wear familiar faces. Sometimes, it smiles at you across the dinner table or tucks your child into bed. It wasn't a stranger who shattered my family's peace. No, it was someone we loved. Someone we trusted. And if I hadn't uncovered the truth, my son's life would never have been the same. The night it all began, rain pounded against the windows like a warning. I was in the kitchen washing dishes when I heard it, the sound of my son Dami crying softly in his room. It was faint but raw, filled with a kind of fear that twisted my stomach. Dami was a lively, curious boy who rarely cried. Whatever had upset him this badly had to be serious. I dropped the plate I was holding and rushed down the hallway, my heart racing. His door was slightly ajar, and the faint glow of his nightlight spilled into the hallway. Dami, I called softly as I pushed the door open. He was curled up in bed, trembling under his blanket. His face was wet with tears, and his lips quivered. "What's wrong, baby?" I asked, sitting on the edge of the bed and pulling him into my arms. He shook his head. "Nothing, Mama." But I knew better. A mother always knows. As I rocked him gently, I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye. Turning toward the doorway, I saw her, Sade, my husband Connell's younger sister. She was leaning against the doorframe, arms crossed over her chest, a strange smile playing on her lips. The hallway light cast shadows across her sharp features. Sade had moved in with us 6 months earlier after her marriage collapsed. Connell, ever the dutiful older brother, insisted we take her in. "Family is family," he had said. I hadn't wanted her to stay. Not because I was heartless, but because Sade was complicated. She was stunningly beautiful, with smooth, radiant skin, high cheekbones, and a body that seemed to command attention wherever she went. Her boldness often bordered on inappropriate. Still, I agreed. Because in our culture, family always came first. At first, everything seemed fine. Sade was charming, helpful around the house, and Dami adored her. She bought him toys, played games with him, and even helped with his homework. But as time went on, I noticed subtle changes. Dami, who had always been vibrant and full of questions, grew quiet. He no longer wanted to play outside or listen to bedtime stories. He flinched at sudden noises and clung to me like a lifeline. One evening, as I tucked him into bed, he whispered, "Mama, can I sleep in your room tonight?" "Why, baby? Don't you like your room anymore?" His little brows furrowed. "Auntie Sade says I'm her special boy." The words sent a chill down my spine. "What do you mean?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "She said it's our secret," he murmured. That night, I lay awake, my mind racing. What was Sade doing to my son? Was it just manipulation, or was there something darker at play? I couldn't confront her without proof. Connor would never believe me. Sade was his baby sister, the golden child of the family. So I did the only thing I could think of. I set up a hidden camera in Dami's room. The next morning, I acted as if everything was normal. Sade was in the kitchen, humming a tune as she made breakfast. Her long braids were pulled back into a ponytail, and she wore a fitted dress that accentuated her curves. "Morning, sis," she greeted me with a smile. I forced a smile in return. "Morning." The day dragged on, every minute filled with unbearable tension. When night finally came, I pretended to go to bed early but stayed awake, my eyes fixed on the live feed from the hidden camera. Hours passed. And then she appeared. Sade slipped into Dami's room, her movements graceful and deliberate. She sat on the edge of his bed, brushing his hair back from his forehead. Her voice was soft, coaxing, but there was an unsettling edge to it. "You know I love you, right?" she whispered. Dami nodded, his body rigid. "And you love me too, don't you?" "Yes, auntie." "Good boy." I watched in horror as she continued to whisper to him, feeding him lies about how I didn't love him and how only she truly cared for him. My hands trembled as I hit the record button. The next morning, I showed the footage to Connor. At first, he was in denial. Sade would never do that, he insisted. "She's just affectionate." But as the minutes passed and the evidence became undeniable, his face crumpled. "I trusted her," he whispered. We confronted Sade together. She didn't even try to deny it. "I just wanted to be loved," she said, her voice shaking. "You have everything, Ada. A husband who adores you, a son who worships you. I have nothing." Her confession was a twisted mix of envy and desperation. We asked her to leave that same day. Connor was heartbroken, but he stood by me. We sought therapy for Dami to help him heal from the emotional scars. It was a long and painful journey, but we emerged stronger. Months have passed since Sade left our home. We don't speak of her often, but her absence is a weight that lingers in the corners of our lives. Dami is slowly returning to his old self, laughing and playing without fear. Therapy has helped him process what happened, though the scars remain. Connor and I have grown closer through the ordeal. Our bond has been tested, but we came out stronger. And as for Sade, I don't know where she is now, and I don't care. But I've learned a valuable lesson: danger doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it wears the face of someone you love. And that's the kind of betrayal that cuts the deepest.